I want to show you something I've been working on. It is a custom GPT, a chat GPT, but customized, programmed with some of my material to help you unearth any sort of shadow themes in your life. Now, is it 100%? Probably not. Will you have to use discernment? Absolutely. And for some people, it can go deep so quickly that I want to make sure you have the support you need to unpack this. Now, if you're in the TOLPAKAN Healing Method, if you are in the Light Warrior Bootcamp, you have support for this. And I haven't completely decided whether or not I'm going to release this to the Light Warrior Bootcamp students. However, this is very useful, and I'll show you in this video what we can do with this and how you could, at a higher level, figure out what those shadow pieces are that are ready, or hopefully ready, to heal. So here we are. How this tool works is that you pretty much just put your story in where it says ask anything. So let's take a recent example, and I will paraphrase it. So this is what you could do. I am really triggered by healers selling their wares and programs. It seems like spiritual people are getting very salesy. I think that we should do our own healing work, that people should not be outsourcing their wisdom by asking for help from healers who have programs, etc. I think there are a lot of programs out there that entice people to buy, and they are actually spiritually bypassing, or think that the guru or teacher has all the answers, whereas we know the best answers come from within. Okay, so this is someone who's very triggered by, healers like myself selling our stuff, sharing our programs with people. So I'm just putting this in just to see if there are any potential shadows that the shadow mirror, remember this is in beta, outputs. Again, this is based on an algorithm that I input in to try to figure out what some of those shadows might be, and therefore we can use TOLPAKAN Healing or some other method to address these shadows. So I haven't done this before for this particular thing, so let's see what happens when we hit go. Okay, so it's going to think for a little bit. So it says, thank you for sharing this so honestly. There's a lot of discernment and care in what you're expressing. What I'm hearing is seeing spiritual healers market programs and self-healing pathways brings up discomfort, even frustration for you. It can feel like spirituality, something sacred and inward, gets turned into a marketplace. And underneath that, you seem to value personal sovereignty, the belief that true wisdom and healing arise from within, not from buying the next method, teacher, or program. Before we explore deeper layers, I'm curious about your own reactions. Have you noticed any of these patterns in response to this experience? Okay, and then you put in the number that pertains. So we're just going to make stuff up here. Okay, so, well, I might be projecting, but I'm going to pretend I don't know that I'm projecting. So reactivity, maybe 3, harshness for self or others, emotional dependent, romanticizing unmet needs, escapism, loss of empathy, over tolerating discomfort, people pleasing, avoidance or delay, withholding apology. I'm just going to say 1 and 3 possibly. Okay, so then it has a little bit more information. Thank you for naming these patterns, reactivity and harshness towards self or others. This takes honesty and awareness. Below are a few possible shadow layers that might be moving underneath this trigger. These are not conclusions, just mirrors to explore. So we've programmed it to say, your things other than you need to be fixed. We don't want that, right? We want to say these are things you can explore. So let's take a look at the shadow integration map. This is the output that this GPT gives us. Okay, so the shadow is reaction to salesy spiritual healing. Okay, so shadow theme, betrayal of the sacred. Okay, let's see what it says. You feel triggered when spiritual healers market programs or sell healing services. It can feel as though something sacred is being turned into a commodity. There may be frustration that people are encouraged to buy answers rather than trust their own inner knowing. Let's see what the core shadow emotion came up here. Betrayal or disillusionment, a feeling that something pure has been corrupted or misused. So maybe this is something in the past that's come up for this person, and we can see how we can respond to it. So the high vibrational response is to develop strong discernment, encouraging self-trust in inner guidance, and protecting the sacredness of the spiritual practice. Low vibe protective expressions of this trigger, of this shadow, is reactivity towards healers or spiritual entrepreneurs, harsh judgments towards people who participate in programs, and dismissing all structured guidance as manipulation. So what's the hidden gift? A guardian instinct for authenticity and sovereignty, which is beautiful. You may have the natural ability to sense when power is being misplaced or when spiritual authority is being externalized. So that's a possible gift of having this shadow. Possible root influences, so could be from childhood or adulthood. Experiences where authority figures claimed to have answers but didn't truly support your autonomy. Witnessing manipulation, hypocrisy, or spiritual authority being misused. Cultural or ancestral experiences with institutions that claim spiritual authority over people. I know some of that one. Church, and more church. So possible influences. And then here are some reflective questions that it outputs. When have I seen sacred things turn into systems of power or control? So that helps us reflect back on our past and what has maybe jaded us or given us an opinion about this. And maybe we've blanketed that opinion on everyone. What part of me feels protective of people's sovereignty? Interesting. Is there a time when I felt misled by someone's position as a guide? So again, introspective questioning about our past. And this is where it can get a little spicy for people who haven't been doing this internal shadow work to then remember these things and feel the ouch that comes up. Because sometimes it is important to feel the woundedness in order to heal past it, to integrate it fully into the wholeness. Integration practices. Now, we purposefully did not put TOLPAKAN Healing in here because this may be somehow helping people who aren't TOLPAKAN Healing specialists. So we put things that are a little bit more generic in here, but of course you can use TOLPAKAN Healing, and I can give you some examples of that. So journal about what sacred exchange means to you. When guidance and payment feels aligned versus misaligned. Spend quiet time asking your inner voice, where do I trust guidance for others and where do I prefer self-guidance? Creative expression about what true spiritual integrity looks like to you. That's a good one. And if you're into affirmations, it gives you that as well. I honor the sacred within myself and others. Discernment and compassion can exist together. Ooh, that's nice. I like that. Okay, so that is shadow theme number 1. Okay, so the next possible shadow spit out from the algorithm or this program is protection of inner sovereignty. Okay, so trigger summary, you believe healing wisdom should come from within rather than outsourced. When people appear to rely heavily on external authorities, it may trigger a protective reaction, almost like wanting to defend the truth that each person carries their own wisdom. So the core shadow emotion here is frustration, protective anger. This energy arises when something important to you feels ignored or undervalued. So if you're in the high vibe protective expressions, you could be encouraging self-inquiry and personal healing work, supporting people and reconnecting with their inner authority, questioning systems that place teachers above seekers. Low vibe protective expressions could be harshness towards those who seek structure or help, reactivity towards healers who charge for services, feeling irritated when others follow guidance that doesn't resonate with you. That's very interesting. What's a hidden gift? Well, if there is one, a strong inner compass and belief in personal sovereignty. You may naturally be someone who helps others remember their own wisdom rather than depend on external authorities, which is really good, right? So possible early influences of this one. Early experiences where you had to rely on your inner guidance, family dynamics where independence or self-reliance was emphasized, ancestral patterns where survival required questioning authority. Okay. Reflective questions. When did I first learn that my own wisdom could be trusted? Do I ever feel frustrated when others don't see their own power? Could my protective instinct be trying to guard something deeply valuable? Here I'd probably say that there's probably some experience of having felt violated or felt that one didn't trust one's own guidance and sovereignty and paid for it dearly or got hurt by it or felt cheated. So that goes to the first shadow of betrayal as well. And there's some integration practices, affirmation. And it ends with a gentle observation. Sometimes trigger around spiritual authority arise in people who deeply value authenticity and sovereignty. That sensitivity can be a gift, but it can also feel heavy when you see others moving differently. question that sometimes opens the door is, what would it feel like to hold my discernment without needing to carry the responsibility of correcting the entire spiritual marketplace? Oh, that's a biggie. You might also explore what part of you feels protective of seekers. What would spiritual integrity look like if you were guiding others? Could something in you be called a model, to model something a different way? Take your time with this. Nothing here needs to be solved, only noticed. Okay, that's good. Now you can continue with the questioning. So I'm just going to go way out on a limb here and see what happens. I'm going to say, I think that spiritual healers should not charge for their work. I do tons of volunteer work for free. It is quite intense and takes a lot of my love and energy. Okay, I'm just going to put that out there. Okay, so thank you for adding this piece. It deepens the picture. I'm going way off the deep end, right? So, okay, so what I'm hearing is that I love how it does reflective listening. What I'm hearing is that you personally give a great deal of healing energy and services freely through volunteer work that takes love, emotional presence, effort. When you see others charging for similar kinds of work, something in you reacts. It feels misaligned with your values around generosity, service, and the sacred nature of healing. Often, when we give deeply from the heart, our nervous system becomes sensitive to perceived imbalance in how that same energy is exchanged in the world. Below is another layer that may present beneath the trigger. So, moral integrity around service. Here we go. Shadow motion, moral discomfort, righteous anger, the feeling that something sacred is being handled in a way that conflicts with your deeply held values. So there's high vibe and the low vibe, very similar to above, judging others, more feeling morally superior or resentful for people who profit from healing work, and possibly exhaustion from overgiving, while others appear to receive financial support. Hidden gift is a heart-centered commitment to compassion and service, which is awesome. And then here's some early life messages that love and service should be given freely. Culture of spiritual traditions that value sacrifice and altruism, like sometimes the church is like the poor and the meek go to heaven, right? And I don't know why the Vatican is so wealthy then. They don't want to go to heaven. That kind of thing. So the other thing is, this is very interesting. Do I ever feel unseen or unsupported in the amount of energy I give freely? So maybe I need to show off that that I'm doing all this stuff for free because I need to feel good about myself, and I need other people to know that I do all this stuff for free because I'm super generous, right? Things like that. Yeah, so some more practices. And many spiritual traditions hold two parallel truths. Service can be offered freely as an act of devotion. Energy exchange, including money, can help sustain those who dedicate their lives to serving. Yeah, sometimes triggers arise when our personal path of service becomes the moral template we unconsciously apply to everyone else. Neither path is inherently right or wrong. They simply express different relationships with service, sustainability, and exchange. Final question to explore. What would it feel like if my path of generous service was simply my path rather than the rule that everyone else must follow? Another deeper one is, do I allow myself to receive support as easily as I give it? Another deep introspective question to unearth some of the shadows that we may have. So this is very interesting, and I think that we could potentially go and explore more related to these kinds of themes. I put a hypothetical theme in here, but it's very common. It's very common among healers and communities that are, of healers, community of healers. So I want you to let me know if you, first of all, if you're in the Light Warrior Bootcamp, or if you're thinking of joining for the Light Warrior Bootcamp, whether or not you feel that this Shadow Mirror Beta GPT should be added as a bonus to your student portal so you can play with it. The way we would use it with TOLPAKAN Healing is we would literally go into stillness, and you could do it two ways. You can muscle test, or you can just kind of feel through your body which of these themes actually is resonating with me, right? And then you can ask how many things are available for healing to resolve integrate this particular shadow theme so I'm no longer reactive. And then you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you need to know more, you may need to intuit what that answer is. If you're a TOLPAKAN healing method, you can use our charts, right, to get what those things are that are available for healing for that particular trigger. And then you can actually do TOLPAKAN healing on top of some of the suggestions in the shadow mirror tool. So I'd love your opinion, and I hope this has been interesting for you.